Hey everyone, it's Bennett Forrest, your commissioner, here once again with our weekly recap. This time we're going to be recapping week 5 of the ForrestLand MishMash fantasy football season for 2014. Very exciting week. There was actually a couple really close games, my game included, so I'm very enthusiastic and excited about bringing you the highlights of this week's action. I wish I had a video production department to do some video editing along with this, but my budget is a little low right now, so we're going to have to go with this. So we're going with the big game of the week, which was actually a really pivotal game in the Mish division between the Slim Aussies and the Stallions. The Slim Aussies got off the snide the week before to go to 1-3, but they're facing the 3-1 league-leading point total scorer, the Somerset Stallions. So big game for the Slim Aussies. The Stallions really could have put some distance between him and the rest of the division with a win. And it turned out to be really close. It was back and forth most of the game. As the Slim Aussies had most of their players in Sunday morning or in the early games, and got a lot of points, had a little bit of a lead there going into the second game, when all of a sudden Phil Rivers started to play and really started to get ugly. And so I had one of those moments where, of course, I'm watching the Red Zone channel, and I'm starting to see Phillip Rivers destroy the Jets, and I'm thinking it's only a matter of time before he catches me, and going into Monday night knowing that he had the advantage with Marshawn Lynch. So I started to get worried, especially with the backup quarterback for the Cardinals. And then all of a sudden I see the highlight of the Chris Hansen, the Red Zone guy, going, "Wait till you see this play in St. Louis." I'm sorry, St. Louis Rams, the Arizona Cardinals game. And he shows the guy going back to pass, and I immediately think it's either going to be an interception for the rookie quarterback or some other receiver, because obviously Andre Ellington was a running back. That was not the case, and Andre Ellington caught a 80-yard touchdown pass from the the injury replacement quarterback and got me like 18 points on one play, and I had one of those awesome fantasy moments where I was jumping up and down, silently, of course, because my daughter was sleeping in the next room. So that really kept the Slim Aussies in the game, and it ended up coming down to Monday night, where it was a 19-point lead, Percy Harvin for the Slim Aussies, Marshawn Lynch for the Stallions, and looking really good for the Aussies most of the game, and even with the three touchdown plays for Percy Harvin, each called back by a penalty. But even with that, it was still looking pretty good. Although Marshawn Lynch had a touchdown late and really made it close, got to within 3 points of the Slim Aussies and just couldn't quite get over the hump. Luckily for the Slim Aussies, and they pull out the 145-142 victory. So, big sigh of relief for me, of course. Happy to get the win. Puts me at 2-3. The Somerset Stallions still looking good at 3-2, but a big win for the Slim Aussies. The other game that was really close, the final score doesn't indicate it, but the Calvinators getting a big win over Third and Oolong. This was actually a 1-point game going into Monday night. Third and Oolong had the Seattle Seahawks defense, and the Calvinators had Russell Wilson. And as you can see by the scores here, ended up not being close, as Russell Wilson had an amazing game, got 37 fantasy points. Seahawks defense only with 2 points, which is not too much, and they end up winning by 37 points. Sort of pulled away on Monday night. Big news, of course, for the Calvinators is I've been giving him shit all year about Tim Wright in the Homer New England pick. Tim Wright finally had a breakout game, 5 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown. So, Calvinators got to give credit where credit is due for sticking with Tim Wright, who had a big fantasy day for him. So they get the win, 177-140, in a real tight MASH division. Other games of note, we have, as you can see, the other games weren't as competitive. You had Catonsville Cartel with a high score of the week, going to 3-2, defeating the Chicago Travelers. As you can see, 190 points. This week, he was smart enough to put Eli Manning in and not Kirk Cousins, although Kirk Cousins actually beat him by 4 points, but Eli Manning was the right move, and just a nice game from, of course, Demaryius Thomas. I think he had 212 26 yards. I mean, that's just fantasy heaven when you get that much from a wide receiver. That's just about as good as it gets. 46 points. Matt Forte had a nice day as well, and just an all-around good scoring day for the Cartel. The Travelers not quite so lucky. A lot of single-digit points you see here. Really no great games other than Julius Thomas with 24 fantasy points. So just didn't get it done. Just a tough day for the Travelers with only 125 points. They fall to 2-3. The Cartel up to 3-2. We also have the low-scoring game of the week, and this is one of those better to be lucky than good, where 124 looks like the second or third lowest point total of the week, but good enough to win, as Be More BPE doesn't even get 100 points. They fall to 1-4, and Graceland, one of the was at one point 0-2, is now 2-3. So Graceland will, I'm sure, take the win. It's pretty amazing sometimes when you have someone like LaShawn McCoy, when the Eagles are actually 4-1, they're kicking butt, and the stud running back's got nothing. He hasn't had a 20-point game yet, only one touchdown. So that's obviously hurting Graceland overall, but this week didn't hurt her because she got the win. Still not a lot of high-scoring players in the game, so nothing to get too excited about, but a win's a win. A couple nice people on the bench. Greg Olsen, of course, had the game-winning touchdown for Carolina. Brian Hoyer's a good pickup there. He may be a good play moving forward. And then, Be More BPE just really getting hurt by Calvin Johnson's injury. And Matt Stafford obviously is hurting as well. And just an all-around really slow game. No one cracks 20 points. And unbelievable that Tom Brady was on the bench in place of Mike Glennon. And not that would have made a difference, and not that Tom Brady did that much, but you still would think you'd write him out in spite of the crappy performance the week before. But that's football for you. You just never know. One week you get blown out by 40. Next week you're blowing the other team out by 40. So, not sure why, looking quickly, why Deshaun Jackson wasn't in. But anyway, just a tough week for Be More BPE. They fall to 1-4 after winning the first game of the year. Finally, we have Ray Finkel's Kicking Academy doing just enough here to go to 5-0. Nothing to be ashamed about with 158 points. Of course, Peyton Manning being the number one, very easily justifying the overall number one pick in the draft. He's been as good as it gets for quarterbacks. Dez Bryant obviously had that big third down catch for the Cowboys. I think he also had a nice touchdown. So a nice 158 points for Ray Finkel. They are the only undefeated team in the league, 5-0. Chiomes falls to 2-2 after a nice 2-0-1 start. Obviously, Derek Anderson, did he even play? So here's an interesting thing. I just noticed just now, both Carolina quarterbacks in there. So apparently, with Carson Palmer injured, maybe there was just no one else to pick up. So, and Tannehill on a bye. So it looks like just a bye week out of options there, and maybe just hoping if Cam Newton gets hurt, Derek Anderson wins or gets some playing time. Obviously, it didn't work because even with the last touchdown to win the game, that only got Cam Newton 16 points. So obviously not a great showing from Chiomes. We'll see if that changes next week as Ryan Tannehill comes back from a bye week. So that's the recap of all the games. Again, it was a really exciting week, my team included. 2 really close games. That's a pretty good number for for out of 5 games. So before we look at the standings, let's quickly take a look at next week. We have the Slim Aussies looking to get to 500 against Be More BPE. It looks like a lot of interdivision games. It looks like all 5 teams are playing someone from the other division. So, you never know what that's going to mean. Gives a chance to compare one division versus the other. So this is the Mishmash litmus test coming into this week. We have, let's see what else we have. We have, basically, pretty even league here. We'll look at the standings now. Other than Finkel's Kicking Academy and Be More BPE, everyone's pretty much hovering, plus or minus the 500 mark. So still way early in the season. We still have 2 more weeks before even the halfway point of the regular fantasy season. So we're in great shape there. And let's take a quick look at the standings before I sign off. We have the Stallions, who have, with an even 800 points, they're leading the whole entire league in points scored, and are in first place. A little bit of tough luck losing by 3 points last week, but they lead at 3-2. And always it's good to look at the point totals to see if any one team is getting lucky or unlucky with their win total. You have 800 for the Stallions. They're in first place. Second place points is the Cartel. They're in second place. Third is the Aussies. So it's in the Mish division. The points are corresponding directly to the standings. Not quite the same in the Mash division, as the Finkles are leading the league and they're 5-0, but Doreen from third and Oolong is got the second most points, but yet they are in fourth place. Of course, the lowest points, that makes sense. Be More BP hasn't broken 600 yet, so not doing so well, the rookie in the league, and thus the 1-4 record. So that's it for this week. Again, very exciting week of fantasy football. A lot more closer games in real life, and should be fun as we move forward. Tonight's actually a really good matchup on Thursday Night Football. So get your lineups in for the Colts Texans tonight. And of course, good luck to everyone that I'm not playing this weekend. There are still a couple of you who haven't put their league dues in, so make sure you do that. And have a great week, everyone. Thanks.